I'm getting through to you. I feel I'm going to take a while for me to get used to this, but anyway, I thought a good way to start. You should all have a handout. In fact, several handouts. You have a course description, and you have some study guides. What we're doing was just going through the nuts and bolts of the class, so everybody knows where we are. And so, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go through this in a slavish sort of way. In case you didn't notice, you're in Music 121, Music Appreciation. This is, it's not Fall 2006, is it? I wonder how many mistakes there are in this. I'm Richard Freeman Toole. The course is designed to introduce the student to the forms and idioms of Western art music, both as an historical perspective as well as from the standpoint of abstract aesthetic values. In other words, we're going to talk about music history, and we're going to talk about how cool music is. This course will attempt to link musical ideas from the year 1000 AD to the present in search of a common humanistic thread. It is my idea that time flows by and idioms and forms change, but the human spirit stays the same. And the reason we create art is to capture a moment of now in time so other people later on can see who we were. And the people in the year 1000 are as alive to me as they were to each other because they've been able to pass down their personalities and their ideas through music. And thank God that we... How many have seen the movie Shadowlands? It's about C.S. Lewis, and one of the lines in it is, "We read to know we are not alone." And by getting into the heads of people that lived hundreds of years ago, we're reminded that wherever we are, whenever we are, we're not alone. The goal of the course is to introduce students to the sounds of Western art music with the intention of generating enthusiasm for the inherited literature, as well as to sharpen the students' critical understanding and appreciation of the music they listen to every day. Now, I'm sure, I have a lot of musicians in here, so I'm sure that a lot of the music you're going to hear will be familiar to you. But I'm equally sure that a lot of the music will not be familiar to you. With unfamiliarity comes hostility, and I'm sure there will be music you will not instantly like. I beg you to give everything we play here a chance, because one of the reasons we study music history is to see common threads that run through history and see how music changes from one step to the other. And if I do my job well, you'll be able to see by the time the end of this class why the music you like is the way it is. This arrow is hard to see. You all know where you are?
Yeah.
That's a yes or no question. Good. Okay, great.
Yes.
All right, so you all know where you are. Okay, next slide. Okay, now, the book, can you see this? Can you see this? I can't see me, so I don't know.
Yes.
How many don't have the book? Well, that's not particularly good. You need to get the book. But more importantly, and I'll be very frank about this, more importantly, you need to have the CDs. Now, but you will be responsible for the music more than anything else. I'll be covering all the history, all the detail. You really need, it's a lovely book. It's got, for one thing, it's got wonderful pictures. Ambrose, it's got wonderful pictures, and it's really easy to read, actually, and especially one of the most important things about the book. And Valdez, gather around Emily and turn to page turn to page 62. Get over where you can see. Well, here you can see this. 62 is an example of how this book works. It says, listen to I'm talking so loud because they're all the way down in Valdez. Maybe I'll get used to that. I don't have to talk this loud. But see, the first cut of music on your CDs is this Gregorian chant, Vere Dinum. And it tells you all about it. It tells you, in fact, if you look on the far left, you'll see the seconds where certain musical events happen. So as you listen to the music, it's very important to become conscious of what you're hearing. And the book really does a nice job of making those sorts of realizations possible for you. So the book and the CD really go together. I know it's expensive. College is expensive. I wish it were not so. But you'll be tested on the material on the CDs, and you'll be tested on the stuff from the lectures mostly. But I don't recommend that you don't buy the book because everything will be based on the lectures, because the book provides a background. Background, is that the word I mean? Background? It provides a foundation from which my lectures, it provides a context for my lectures. So I really recommend that you get that book as soon as you can, because the assignment for next week is, the assignment for next class is Music Fundamentals, which, as we now know, everybody will be pretty well hip to. But by January 29th, we're going to start into the Middle Ages, and you really need to have the stuff by then. So don't delay getting your materials. But feel free to share in whatever way is comfortable for whoever has the book. Emily and Julie. Who else? There will be two exams. There'll be two exams. There'll be one 5-page paper, 4 listening quizzes. I want you to notice that all my Z's are capitals. My computer's broken, and the Z makes a capital Z. Isn't that cool? The quizzes will be based purely on listening, and they're in your lecture title schedule. But the dates are all correct. So, for instance, you see on the first one you see is on February 5th. There'll be a quiz. By that time, we'll have had a class on the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. I'll have played you 5 or 6 pieces. You will have to identify the pieces by title, by composer, and period. Each one of those is worth 3.3 points to a total of, whatever. In other words, you have to identify each piece.
You're not a math guy. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not a math guy. So identifying the music will be very important. All the pieces will be played in class, but you need to, in order to learn them and get them, tell them apart, you really ought to have to listen to them by yourselves. There's one interesting story. I was teaching this class down in Illinois, and one of my students was driving down the highway in a pickup truck, playing the music for this class blaringly loud, and he was pulled over by a cop for noise pollution or something, but the cop let him off because he was doing something of a cultural nature. Just goes to show that the good karma involved in classical music is ever present. You're bound to get good stuff from this. You may even learn to like some older music, which is my hope. Now, the other good news is this. If you took this class because you thought it was going to be an easy A, you're right. It is really going to be an easy A, because I'm really good at this, and I can get you to memorize these few. I want you to come away from this class with a cluster of basic principles, and I will drill those principles into you over and over again, so by the time it's time to be tested on them, you really ought to know them. Like I say, I've taught this class many times, and I give mostly A's. They're not free because I really want you to learn this stuff. But if you come to class and you learn the stuff that I repeat over and over, which you would have to be a moron not to, I'm sure you'll do well on my evaluations. If for any reason you are a moron, and you know who you are, raise your hands if you're a moron. I can't see, but I'm sure someone has got his hand up. You can do extra credit projects. You have to check with me first if you want to do one, but if there's a live concert that you went to, and you can write a review of that, that's fine. If you go down to the video store and check out an opera and listen to it and write a review of that, that would be fine. If you want to write I know that there'll be some of you that like a rock band that you might like to share something with the class. Those are all worth credit. By the time you finish the class, you've probably got more points than you need for an A. But I'm telling you that I don't have any unreasonable expectations of you, but I have a lot of faith in myself, in my ability to get kids to learn certain important things about music. So I'm sure as far as the evaluation process goes on, we will have a happy relationship. Now, are there any questions about the nuts and bolts of the class?
Can we
Everybody
perform
understood?
some music or something instead of having to write a paper? Maybe.
Can you what? Sorry?
Could we
Say it again.
could we perform a music something instead of having to write a paper?
Well, you would lose the credit for the paper, but you would gain extra credit.
No. I mean the extra
Points.
credit points.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
instead
it can
of
be. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay.
It's a good idea. Absolutely. The question was, can you perform for the class? Yes.
For
And,
if you are doing an extra credit something.
And the good thing is that with distance learning, no one can throw fruit because it won't. It'll just hit the screen, bounce off. So any other? I think my words are getting there late because their laughter is like 2-3 seconds after yours. See?
No, that's just our thought process.
Oh, I know the air is thicker down in Valdez, so who knows what you're breathing in. So, any other questions about the nuts and bolts? Everybody gets the grading situation, and you have the lecture title schedule. Obviously, if you don't come to class, especially when I get another screen, I will notice, and that will prejudice me against cutting you any slack. But if you're coming to class and you listen to the music, I think we're going to get along just peachy. So if there's no other questions, let's go into the subject of today.